Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a name synonymous with baseball greatness. The son of a Hall of Famer, Vlad Jr. burst onto the scene with a potent bat and a lineage that demanded attention. He quickly established himself as one of baseball's most exciting young talents. His power at the plate is legendary, capable of launching moonshot home runs that leave fans in awe. But beyond the raw talent, there's a burning desire to carve his own path, to step out from the shadows and create a legacy all his own. The Toronto Blue Jays, a franchise on the cusp of contention, recognized this generational talent. They secured Guerrero Jr. to a team-friendly deal, hoping to build their future around his powerful bat. As his rookie contract dwindled, the stakes grew higher. Both sides knew the importance of this next deal, a contract that would not only shape Guerrero Jr.'s future but also the trajectory of the Blue Jays franchise. The pressure was on, as the baseball world watched with bated breath to see how this contract drama would unfold. Would the Blue Jays be able to lock down their young star, securing a cornerstone piece for their championship aspirations? Or would Guerrero Jr., emboldened by his talent and potential, test the open market, seeking a record-breaking deal that would cement his place among baseball's elite? The answers to these questions held immense weight, not just for Guerrero Jr. and the Blue Jays but for the entire landscape of Major League Baseball. The baseball world watched with anticipation as the February 17th deadline approached, a deadline self-imposed by Guerrero Jr. to avoid distractions during spring training. This wasn't just another contract negotiation. It was a high-stakes game of chicken between a superstar in his prime and a franchise desperate to retain its most prized asset. The air was thick with tension, the silence deafening as the clock ticked down. Reports emerged, painting a picture of a significant gap between the two sides. Guerrero Jr., confident in his value and future potential, reportedly sought a deal that would place him among the highest-paid players in the league, a contract that reflected his status as a generational talent. The Blue Jays, while acknowledging Guerrero Jr.'s importance, were wary of shattering their payroll structure. They countered with offers that they touted as aggressive and record-setting, but seemingly fell short of the superstar's expectations. As the deadline passed without a resolution, a sense of unease settled in. The Blue Jays, despite their optimistic pronouncements, were now faced with the very real possibility of losing their star player to free agency. The situation was further complicated by the team's recent spending spree, which had bolstered their roster but left them with limited financial flexibility. The silence from both camps was deafening, leaving fans and analysts alike to speculate about what went wrong and what the future held for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and the Toronto Blue Jays. At the heart of this contract, Impasse, lies a fundamental difference in valuation. It's a tale as old as baseball itself. A star player, confident in his abilities and future earnings, seeks a contract that reflects his worth, while a franchise, mindful of its bottom line and long-term sustainability, strives to strike a balance between rewarding its star and maintaining financial flexibility. From Guerrero Jr.'s perspective, the situation is clear. He's a four-time All-Star, a Silver Slugger winner, and arguably the most feared hitter in baseball. He's entering his prime years, the period when his value is at its peak. He's witnessed firsthand the massive contracts signed by fellow superstars, players like Fernando Tatis Jr. and Juan Soto setting a new benchmark for what elite talent commands in today's market. The Blue Jays, on the other hand, face a more complex calculation. They recognize Guerrero Jr.'s immense talent and his importance to their franchise. They've invested heavily in building a competitive team around him, hoping to capitalize on his prime years and bring a World Series title back to Toronto. However, they're also acutely aware of the financial realities of the sport. They've seen how mega contracts can hamstring a franchise, limiting their ability to build a complete team and adapt to changing circumstances. The specter of Albert Pujols' albatross contract with the Los Angeles Angels serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the risks associated with committing exorbitant sums to a single player. This clash of perspectives, this fundamental disagreement over Guerrero Jr.'s true worth, has created a chasm that has proven difficult to bridge. To understand the magnitude of this contract dispute, one must first understand the caliber of player Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has become. From the moment he stepped onto a major league field, the weight of expectation rested heavily on his young shoulders. The son of a Hall of Famer, Vlad Jr. carried the burden of a famous last name, but he also inherited a prodigious talent that quickly silenced any doubters. His swing, a mesmerizing blend of power and fluidity, is a thing of beauty, capable of launching baseballs into orbit with seemingly effortless ease. In 2021, he captivated the baseball world, engaging in a thrilling home run chase with Shohei Ohtani, ultimately falling just short but solidifying his status as one of the game's most feared sluggers. His trophy case, already brimming with accolades, tells the story of a player who has consistently performed at an elite level. 4 All-Star selections, a Silver Slugger award, and a second-place finish in the MVP voting, all before his 25th birthday, paint a picture of a player who is not just on the cusp of greatness, but has already arrived. But beyond the raw numbers and the individual accolades, there's a sense that Guerrero Jr. is still scratching the surface of his potential. He's a student of the game, constantly working to improve his craft, whether it's refining his swing mechanics or expanding his defensive versatility. He's embraced the pressure that comes with his lineage and the expectations that accompany his talent, using it as fuel to push himself to new heights. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is more than just a baseball player. He's a phenomenon, a generational talent who has the potential to rewrite the record books and leave an indelible mark on the sport. The Blue Jays entered the offseason with a clear objective: to build a team capable of competing for a World Series title. They had a young, talented core, led by Guerrero Jr., but they needed to address key weaknesses on their roster. And address them, they did, embarking on a spending spree that sent ripples throughout the league. They lured all-star pitcher Max Scherzer away from the New York Mets with a lucrative multi-year deal, adding a veteran ace to their rotation. They bolstered their bullpen by signing experienced relievers, aiming to solidify a unit that had proven to be a liability in previous seasons. They even made a splash in the trade market, acquiring a Gold Glove caliber defender to shore up their infield defense. These moves, while necessary to improve the team's overall competitiveness, had a significant impact on the team's payroll. The Blue Jays, once lauded for their financial flexibility, suddenly found themselves with limited wiggle room. The front office, tasked with balancing the desire to win now with the need to maintain long-term sustainability, faced a delicate balancing act. This off-season spending spree, while demonstrating the franchise's commitment to building a winner, inadvertently complicated the Guerrero Jr. contract negotiations. The front office, having already committed significant resources to other players, now had to weigh the cost of meeting Guerrero Jr.'s demands against the potential consequences of exceeding their budget. The situation was further complicated by the looming specter of free agency for other key players on the roster. The Blue Jays, already facing a potential financial crunch, had to make difficult decisions about which players to prioritize and which players they could afford to lose. Free agency looms large over every MLB player, a specter that can bring both opportunity and uncertainty. For some, it's a chance to secure a lucrative contract and a new chapter in their career. For others, it can mean the end of the road. The stakes are high, and the decisions made during this period can shape the trajectory of a player's future. Looking back, we see the echoes of contracts that have defined the league. From record-breaking deals to surprising trades, each contract tells a story. These stories are not just about money, but about loyalty, ambition, and sometimes, heartbreak. The past contracts have set precedents and have become benchmarks for future negotiations. As we look ahead, the landscape of MLB contracts continues to evolve. Teams and players must navigate a complex web of negotiations, performance metrics, and market dynamics. It's not just about the numbers on the paper, it's about finding the right fit, the right timing, and the right strategy to achieve long-term success. In the end, MLB contracts are more than just agreements. They are commitments that shape the careers of players and the fortunes of teams. They reflect the ever-changing dynamics of the sport, the business, and the human elements that make baseball so compelling. Whether you're a fan, a player, or a team executive, understanding these contracts is key to appreciating the full picture of America's pastime.